75% of the budget supports mandated services by the state of North Carolina, which leaves about 25% of the budget supporting non-mandated services. The current Board of Commissioners used its discretionary authority, for example, to eliminate the position of Human Relations Director and eliminate funding for the Arts Incubator and the Core Food Pantry. What are your views regarding the budget's priorities and how it is developed? Do you have any recommendations for changes? This is a two-minute question. And we'll start with Mr. Crawford.
I wasn't aware about the Core Food Pantry. I'd have to find out about that one before I answered any question. As far as the Arts Incubator, I want to be clear also, I am not an opponent of the arts. However, I thought that one of the problems that the county had with the Arts Incubator was that they were not coming up with some sort of a business plan for the money that was being invested in them. And when that didn't happen, the money got pulled back. And in my view, that is an entirely rational thing to do. And if they manage to come up with a credible business plan for how our money is being invested in them, I'd be more than happy to think about putting the money back in. Thank you.
Originally, the board was going to put in enough money to help the Arts Incubator go through the following fiscal year. And then at our decision meeting, that changed. I don't know exactly what other information was included, but they decided not to do it. And we did find out that the business plan they were operating on was actually not a business plan at all, and it was totally dependent on the community college. And so I understand they are coming along and still operating, and hopefully they will make it on their own, which is really the object of any nonprofit, is to make it on their own and to have a good bank balance. I don't recall taking money from Cora. I remember Cora requesting $40,000 for emergency food additions, which we agreed to give to them, and later found out they had 6 months emergency funding in the bank. Or nobody else that I know of has that. They didn't bother to tell us that. Now, I understand the goal of a nonprofit is to have 6 months operating money in the bank, but that's for emergencies. So if you had an emergency, they should have used that money and then come and tell us, look, we're into our emergency reserve. We may need some money down the road, but none of that came up during the request. And I heard recently that I think we got that money returned to the county, but I'm not sure. As far as HRC and jobs, I don't know about, I won't discuss people that were in positions, but there were jobs that were deleted. But we knew that when the new board majority ran their election, they told us what they were going to do. There wasn't any surprise there. It might have been a surprise on how quickly it was done, but that was a cutback and a way to save some money. Through these cutbacks, although we did lose some things that a lot of folks wanted, we were able to finally give a partial pay raise to the county employees who hadn't had one in 3 or 4 years. And hopefully we can continue that. We're losing a lot of good people because everybody around us pays considerably more money than we do for the same job. For example, a law enforcement officer can go to Cary and make $8,000 or $9,000 a year more. They could go to Orange County and make $6,000 or $7,000 more.
Okay.
They're doing the same job.
Thank you.
I think Mike has done a superb job in explaining all these programs. I can't really add a heck of a lot to that, but I would still, and Bill Crawford brought to the floor the Arts Incubator situation and no business plan. So anything else in addition to what's already been put forward, I really have no other comment.
I I'd like to first address the Arts Incubator. We were talking about roughly $34,000 as a bridge loan that would come out of our over $20 million of fund balance. I will contend it wasn't done because of the money. There are 14 spin-off businesses in Siler City, and quite frankly, the only thing going on in downtown Siler City are the arts. I think it was a huge mistake to not fund this and to show Siler City that we are supportive of their efforts. Regarding the funding from CORA, it wasn't that we cut the CORA funding, it's that they had requested additional amount. And our chair of the Board of Commissioners went to Walmart and got a grant for CORA. And I think it's great when we have private companies providing support for programs such as CORA. But I was a bit concerned when he did that because Walmart was in the process of getting permits, and then when the perception of the chair of the Board of Commissioners asking them to fund that could be perceived, and I know that's not what he intended, he was trying to help, but I had some real concerns about the way that was handled. And the biggest issue here was the cutting of the civil rights position. This position not only worked with people of color and institutional discrimination as well as individual discrimination in housing and employment, but one of their primary roles was educating the community, was increasing awareness. There are so many things that we, and I'm looking out in this room, and I'm going to say we because I don't see anyone of color in this room, but the institutional discrimination that we aren't even aware of. This position brought great awareness and addressed many of the issues. Now, we just got an addendum to the community health assessment, and it talked about, is that my time? That was 2 minutes? Really? Gosh, just well, do I get to rebut my own self? I'll come back to it, don't worry, I'll get it in there. No, I'll get it in there, don't you worry, I'll get it in there.
Okay, are there any rebuttals? Sure, you can.
Okay, so let me finish this up about the civil rights position, because with this community health assessment, and it talked about the need, it talked about the many concerns about community health that really were impacting people of color. And it really addressed the need for education. And if you read that report, it will show you how very much we need that position. And I am hopeful that in 2014 we get to add it back in.